I'm Jaron Michael Robbins. You are watching Jessica Fury's podcast. New episodes every Monday. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have Jaron Michael Robbins. He is the assistant to celebrity hairstylist Chaz Dean. He is an actor and he is a spokesperson and activist for LGBTQIA boys. Jaron, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you've done a lot of podcasts lately, right?
I do a little bit of here and there for some people. They want me to show up and be myself, so why not? You know what I mean?
I love it, but you're not from here.
No, I'm from the Ozarks.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And what brought you to LA?
The Ozarks. I was born and raised in the Ozarks, Southern Baptist.
The Ozarks is in Missouri.
It is. Well, it's Missouri, like Arkansas, all those middle of the country states. It was very hard for me to fit in, as you can imagine, so I just focused on my studies, did really well, straight-A student, and then met my husband there. We were dating at the time, obviously. And then through the Army, we got transferred out to Seattle, and so he finished his contract out there, and Seattle is where I got into commercial real estate, and which started my real estate career, because my parents were actually in real estate back in Missouri in residential, but I went into commercial to try to do something different. And then from there, I opened a couple offices for a commercial firm, and then they moved me to Denver to help with their office in Denver. And then from there is when Beverly Hills reached out for me to come run real estate and residential in Beverly Hills.
And what did you do in Beverly Hills with real estate?
I was director of operations for a team at the agency.
Oh, okay, cool. But I want to go back to your childhood in Missouri.
Okay.
Can we get a little bit more into detail? Like, where did you not fit in? Where did you fit in? Where did you start feeling as if you fit in with one particular thing? And was there just discomfort or trauma? Like, what were some of the things you started to experience?
I don't think the trauma probably hit me until I was older, till I recognized what I was raised in. I think my parents loved me the way they knew how, and they were always very kind and comforting to me, and always had a roof over my head, a meal on my tummy, that kind of thing. But I just don't think they understood that every single day was a struggle for me to wake up and feel so out of place in my skin, in my home, in my friend group. I was friends with all the girls, of course, because I didn't play sports. I wasn't very macho. None of that stuff. I just didn't vibe with the guys, and I never did. But I loved playing with dolls and the whole 9 yards, doing my nails, makeup, all that silly stuff. As a little boy, just playing with the girls, and I didn't ever put a gender or sex to it. It was just me just enjoying me with, my time with my friends. And then as I started getting older and stuff started segregating, like in PE class, of like, this is what boys do, this is what girls do, and boys don't play with dolls. And there were just so many rules put on me there that I had a hard time accepting that.
I don't do well with rules.
I don't either, at all. I'm an Aquarius, and our rule is you just don't tell us what to do. It's just like I figure out the world on my own and do what I want. And there were just a lot of rules there that I just couldn't keep up with.
Were you like acting out? Like, were you experiencing certain things, like questioning things that you were doing?
I feel like I was outed by my parents and family in a very, awkward, not fun way that, looking back, I wouldn't do it again. But it was also the 90s or 2000s. Gosh, I don't know what I'm dating myself too much, but I'm 34 now. But, it was a time when it wasn't as accepting. This was still don't ask, don't tell in the Army with my husband, that kind of stuff. But my parents point blank asked me if I was gay because they found some stuff on browser history, which you know how that goes. This is before apps and all the fun stuff. And I just had to be honest with myself. I knew in that moment there was no more hiding. And so I told my father that I was, and his reaction I can remember to this day. And I just knew that I was going to have to get out.
Why? I mean, I have friends that are gay, and why is it, and a couple of them they knew when they were about 4 or 5 years old. Why does it seem like such a hard thing to share? And why does it seem as if there's like this fear of sharing something that's being honest with yourself?
I think it comes down to fear in general. I think my parents were raised very Christian as well, in Southern Baptist. And so they only know what they know. And as I'm older and done my own therapy and all the Reiki and all the things, I've learned to lead with empathy and try to meet them where they're at. And I know that they were just doing all that they knew how to do. And all that they knew how was that the Bible said that it was wrong. And if it becomes between me and God, they're going to choose God. And so in that weird, sick, twisted realm, I understood because they put God first in their mind, and that's what their God is to them. But I was lucky enough to not be kicked out or anything, but I knew several kids that were kicked out, or I knew some horror stories of kids that were even murdered for being gay where I'm from, and in the backwoods where nobody wanted to talk about it, kind of thing. And so, of course, that fear lives within you. It's like in my being as a 34-year-old in LA, I still think of it. When I walk in a door, do I need to butch up? Do I need to straighten up? How are these people going to receive me? You know, I'm very confident now, and I think a lot of people recognize that and appreciate that about me, but that's years of trauma and learning how to deal with that. And that's why I'm so confident now, because you get to a place, I think probably 28, 30, somewhere in there, where you just don't care anymore what other people think.
You know, you said something about you and your husband being in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it like, I mean, someone told me once before that, like, if a guy's in the Army and the woman isn't fucking her husband missionary,
Mm-hmm.
then, like, the people in the Army will, like, go after her. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
I cannot.
so are you allowed to be gay in the Army? Like, what is the, like, you get in trouble? Like, what's the...
Yeah, no, you are now. A law was passed a few years ago where, you know, don't ask, don't tell is no longer a thing. But back then it was like, we won't kick you off for being gay as long as you don't tell us and parade about it. So you don't ask, we won't tell on you, and we just don't talk about your sexuality. We just act like it's not a thing. So my husband was in during that time. So, of course, when I would go visit him on post or something, my husband's very straight presenting. He's very butch. He's very macho, all the things. When I show up, it's a different story. Like, I can only be so butch, let's be honest. And so visiting him for the first few years was very awkward because they knew right off the bat why I was there, why I was going to visit this man, the sergeant in the Army on the weekends and at night and stuff like that.
Were you allowed to sleep in the same bed?
I was, but no one saw behind the closed doors, you know. It's like once I passed the security at post, I'm on the base or whatever you want to call it, and I am allowed to do whatever I want within those realms. But I always had my husband with me. He was my boyfriend at the time, but I had my husband with me because I felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
I would not feel safe there without him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, one of the things that, like, somebody who grew up with, like, religion, and I find myself more to be a spiritual person as opposed to, I just don't relate to a lot of religion where you just have to follow a lot of rules and stuff. And I'm just like, I'd rather just be peaceful and loving. I'd rather teach a child to be peaceful, to be loving, to be kind, to be in service, to feel the feelings of whatever it is they want to feel, work through those aggressions, work through whatever it is, but not to be punished, not to be shamed, not to be told you're not allowed to go do that, go talk it over. I'm just like, no. But one of the things that I really just started to connect to is with social media and through the internet, there's so much like people wanting to be more themselves. And we're still continuing to shame that. And the population of homosexuals is almost as much as heterosexuals now. And it's still being shamed. So we don't know how to treat the other person the way they want to be treated. I'm like going to get emotional with this because you're a friend of mine. And it's like, why do you think that's still going on? Why do you think that you have to butch up before you walk through the door? Like, why do you think that's still going on?
Because it is decades of trauma and decades of shame. I think that's the word that always resonates with me is I had so much shame of who I was every morning waking up. And I don't want to get emotional either, that it took me coming out to somewhere like LA or even Seattle, bigger cities, to see that there were a lot of me's out there, because there weren't a lot of me's where I was from. They all ran for a reason. And so I think seeing that I wasn't so abnormal and so alien-like made me feel more comfortable in my skin. But years and years of therapy, I quit drinking because of it, because I realized that I was drinking to cover the shame of who I was, and I can't control that. I can wake up and drink it away for, 12 hours, but I wake up tomorrow still gay with still shame. And so it
with
just
less
got to,
shame.
Yeah, less shame. And then it took complete sobriety from alcohol to really find myself and deal with that shame, to find out what I'm so ashamed of.
What does shame look like?
Shame, embarrassment, like I let someone down, like my parents. Even though I worked my ass off, I still do work my ass off. I was a great student, a great kid. I couldn't ever be perfect or succeed because I was gay. It was always that lingering cloud.
Why? Like, that's like the one thing that like boggles my mind. I'm just like, why? Like why? I mean, like I'm like, I guess they just like, I don't know. I immediately just go back to like sex. I'm like, they're just doing their own sexual thing that, I mean, I like to do with a man, that they're just doing with a man as well. So it's like, what's the fucking difference? Like, and you're not even affected by it. That's the thing.
Not
Is
at all.
see, that's the thing that really like drives me crazy. It's just like, you're not affected by it. Why are you so it's like, why are you taking your own shame and putting it onto another
Yeah.
person who's just trying to live their life? Like, what is it that you feel as if that somebody has brought onto you that has taken your own time of working through it? Because I think that what, you know, somebody who's listening to this, or you being an activist for a community, like, what is the example that you're setting to others?
My example that I want to set is you have to be who you are, because your life is so much more enjoyable and easier once you do come to terms with that, whatever that may be, whether that's gay, straight, trans, whatever weight, whatever color, whatever you are, just be that, because you can't change it. And the sooner you stop fighting that, it's like life just starts once you figure that out. For me, it's like I figured this all out in my late 20s, early 30s, and I feel like I was born in a weird sense just a few years ago, because I was living a life that was so miserable and so hidden as much as I could. And so if I could go back to my younger self and give him any advice, it would be just to start feeling more comfortable sooner, because I'll never be a kid again. I'll never be in my 20s again. And to think what that time in my life would have been like had I had a different mindset or less shame, it's just, I can't put words on it, but I know that it happened for a reason. And so my goal is to live more authentically in my own skin, whatever that looks like, whether I'm here in LA, New York, wherever. Because if the eyes, in a weird way, I know this is going to sound crazy, but in a weird way, if the eyes are on me and they're poking at me, I can take it. They're not looking and poking at someone else who can't take it. And so I try to distract as much as I can on my social medias and my wardrobe. I carry a purse, for God's sakes. Like, I color my nails. I try to keep the attention on me for that reason, because there's someone out there who's not comfortable yet, and I don't want them getting picked on. Like, seeing someone get picked on for who they are, whether it's sexuality or a mentality or, overweight or whatever, I can't handle it. There's something in me that gets so triggered to help the voiceless.
Where was the turning point that you were like, I'm going to start taking this and utilizing it in a positive way for others?
I think it was sobriety. I think I do a lot of Reiki. Shout out to Soraya in Beverly Hills. She's amazing. When you get past all the scientific, science, therapies, I don't know how to put it, like what my therapist does for me and what my Reiki does for me are two different things. All right. I think there's a need for both in my life. I think for Reiki, it gets to a spiritual, my actual being, my core essence of who I am, whether that's male or female in this life form. I believe in many lives and I've been reincarnated. I believe in all those things. I believe like once you get to the core of that, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it into words. She helps solve such pain that at the time consumed me, that I was able to see it from the outside and realize that that's not my shame. That's actually my parents' shame. That's my upbringing. That's their embarrassment of having a gay son, because in a weird way, I think that made them look weak. My mom's very successful. My dad works his ass off, but they're well known in my little town. And I think by them having a gay son, for some reason, embarrasses them. But it's not their fault, because I know the shame that they're getting from the community for having that gay son.
Has the relationship shifted in any way, or it stayed the same?
I can definitely pick up the phone and call him whenever I want. What I'm struggling with now, to be honest with you, because you know me, I'm pretty open book about this stuff, is I find myself wanting to pick up the phone less, which hurts. It's not a bed that I made. It's just a bed that I'm having to forge through, because I don't want to cut ties, because again, I'm trying to lead with empathy and trying to understand where people are at and meet them where they're at.
And I think it's also like I like to check in with myself every day. And I understand recovery programs. I've gone to Al-Anon. I had a brother who passed from an opioid addiction. I have a lot of, I wouldn't say experience, but I like to know about that recovery world. And they're always talking about taking personal inventory. And then taking personal inventory and then looking at it in a way that's like, okay, so now how can I be in service to another person? It's very simple. We don't think about this on a day-to-day basis, but some people, I feel as if more and more they are. Did you start to check in with yourself and be like, you know what? I checked all my boxes today, and this is just how I'm feeling, that it's not about them. It's just me taking care of a part of me.
Yeah. I think that's probably why I worked so hard as a kid, was because I wanted to be good at something, whether that was, I did gymnastics for a little bit, I did violin, I was a straight A student. I did all the things to make me a perfect kid in their eyes, that I realized that no matter what I do, until I solve for being gay, which I couldn't, it was just a dead end road for me. And so my inventory at that time was, why am I drinking so much? And it's because I'm trying to just daily just get over the fact that I'm gay and I can't. And so then when I was sober, I was able to see, okay, why am I drinking? It's out of pain, it's out of shame, it's out of fear, all the things. And then it's like, okay, so who am I? What are things that are important to me? What are things that I don't like in my life? And when I started having a voice, because I felt so voiceless for so long, I started getting rid of toxic behaviors. I started getting rid of toxic people, substances. Where were we? Sorry. Where were we?
Taking daily, I was having you take daily
Oh
inventory.
yeah, so my daily inventory, so sorry. My daily inventory is now, it's like when I feel rage or I feel shame or I feel like when I'm walking in a door, I check in with myself and be like, okay, are these shame tactics that I'm just so used to doing because I need to do them because it's what makes the, you know, the wheel go round? Or am I okay? Whether I walk in that door looking gay or straight, I still have to walk through that door. I still have to meet these people, whoever these people are. I have to do what I'm here to do, and I'm going to leave. And I cannot control what those people are going to think about me, say about me, judge about me. Like, I can't control that. So I might as well just come in who I am authentically, because that's where I'm most at peace and most kind, I feel like, and most operating from a very zen place, because I'm content.
And I think that, like, for someone who's a younger generation to listen to like what you're saying, it's like, it's such a daily work. It's like waking up, doing the things that you need to, and even looking at it like this is like being honest with what you're feeling and surrounding yourself with people knowing that you can share those things with them and be okay, be safe. Like for me, having you as a friend, I was like, I am in real estate and you know the real estate business. Sometimes I meet people and they're like, oh, this gay couple came into my open house. I'm like, I don't think that you can, like, can you do that?
Why do they have to be the gay couple? Why not just the couple?
I'm like, can you
Yeah.
say that?
You can, but it would make me question, like, why does their sexuality have anything to do with this? Like, when you can say, I met this lovely couple today. In my head, that's many options. I'll do the math if necessary. But you, by leading with this gay couple,
Yeah.
anybody is focused on the fact that they're gay now. And what the hell does that have to do with them buying this house?
Yeah. I know. So, I mean, I met a woman and her wife, they've been looking with their daughter, like, for a property. And it's nothing more than that. Just trying to give someone what they're looking to provide for their family. And do you notice from being in that industry, like, people acting differently because somebody is a particular race or gender? Like, do you notice any of that? Like, how do you deal with it? How has the people that you've worked with in the industry, how have you seen them deal with it?
I would say the agency in Beverly Hills especially was very kind to me and very open and accepting of who I am, because my work speaks for itself. But again, that's Beverly Hills. That's a very privileged area that we work in, right? And so if I was doing real estate, say, in the Ozarks, I still think it'd be the same kind of people with the same kind of mindsets and values. And so one thing that does bother me, though, in real estate still is, like, I don't want to name any names because you know this person, but we were at a meeting recently and they were talking about, you know, how we don't want to say master bedroom anymore, because, and what that stems from. And as silly as that may be to some people, it actually it's rooted in some awful things. And I like to educate people to at least do your research and understand why we're not saying master bedroom. We're not here just to annoy you today by making you stop saying that. There's a reason behind it.
Why?
Because the master and slaves, it was where the master would stay in his room. That was his room. So it goes back to slavery and all those times.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought it was like, yes, master.
And then the same with, like, Jack and Jill bathrooms. It's like, that's already negating the fact that a gay couple could be living here. That's for Jack and that's for Jill.
Really?
Yes. And so.
Oh my God, I just got schooled.
Yes, it's okay. And these little terms just annoying for me to challenge you as it is for you to hear it.
And I know it's like a total, not like a cliche, but I know it's one of those things where it's just like, at the end of the day, how is this person showing up in my space? Whether as a friend or somebody I'm confining with, or somebody who's either they're doing business with me or they're going to do the job right. Like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like we're treating people how we want to be treated and how we respect others. Like it's the golden rule. Like, I think that we make things so complicated in every single thing.
Yeah.
And it just complicates. And for me, because you're talking about your Reiki master, it's just like, it's stagnant energy. I'm like, it's just.
You gotta go. That's what she does. She releases all that negative energy off you. And it's something you have to do I do it every month, but you can kind of feel your body and your energy when it's time to get rid of that toxic energy.
Yeah. I just hearing you say that, I'm just like, it's so crazy how more and more and more you see these things showing up. And someone who is an activist, what is your position with these boys? How are you showing up for them as a mentor? What are the things that you provide to them?
I think, so as we all know, well, I'm sure you know, I have an Instagram and TikTok account dedicated to my love of The Little Mermaid, and I have hundreds of dolls ever since '89, and I collect them, which as a grown man, automatically everybody hearing this is stopping in their tracks to judge, and that's totally fine. I welcome
Really?
it.
No,
Yes,
they're not.
It's weird. I get it. However, twofold. It was never to get a lot of followers. It was always to heal the inner child that didn't get to play with these dolls. And so it's allowing this child to be who this child wanted to be as an adult, especially now that I can afford to buy all these dolls on my own. I don't need to go ask mommy and daddy if I can buy the doll and go through all the judgment of that. And so by just playing with these, making my videos and my posts, whatever, I've had countless women and men reach out saying like, hey, my son plays with dolls. He is so embarrassed by it. He's been playing with them since he was a kid, but I caught him in his room crying because he saw you on your video and just he had someone to look up to. And he said, hey, Mommy, look, I'm not so weird. And it just like that one little boy in that room playing with dolls on his, I know. That was me for many years, and I had no one to talk to, no one to turn to. All I know is that if I left my room and showed somebody that was playing with a doll, it was going to be a day of hell for me. And I was probably going to be reprimanded for it. I was probably going to be made fun of for it. It was going to get out in the community. And so just showing that these little boys in the Ozarks or Timbuktu, wherever the hell they live, that I'm doing it, and it's like I show up to work, I work my ass off. I went to college, got my degree. I made 6 figures at a very young age. I did all the things, and I still play with dolls.
I love it. Like, I was telling you so, and I want to know why Ariel. So when Ariel came out, I don't remember how old I was. I must have been about 5. And ever since I was little, having red hair literally stuck out like a sore thumb. And I've had to accept, I know it's people who are like, it's just red hair. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I literally would tell people I was adopted. I would tell people as a young kid I was adopted. And I always felt really uncomfortable because it was very carrot orange. And I just felt really like out of place. It was, I don't know why. Even like people would come up to my parents on vacations and ask to take pictures with me. Like it's made me really uncomfortable. I'm just like, like, please, like, but I remember when I watched Ariel, it was the first movie I cried in. And it's because she was just they made Disney like a redhead. And the Disney movies that I had seen up to that point, they were just brown hair or a blonde, like Sleeping Beauty. She had like the blonde hair, was perfect golden. But then like Ariel was like this beautiful princess. And I started crying because she has red hair. And I just connected to that. And I remember telling you that. And then I remember that day I was at Erewhon and this guy kept coming up to me and like trying to like pet my arms and stuff. And I didn't want to tell one of the managers because I didn't want to like him to not work there anymore. But I was just like, I was uncomfortable.
I'm sure.
I was just like, I'm not a celebrity. I just want to buy my food. I don't want somebody grabbing at me to rub my hand.
Well, even if you were a celebrity, no one needs to be petted at the grocery store. That's weird.
I was just like, I was like trying to pay for my groceries and he's like reaching to pet my hand. It's very
You can imagine how I would have handled that situation.
I was like, is somebody watching this?
Yeah.
But the Ariel dolls, why Ariel?
Two things. I want to go back to the red hair because it's so funny you say that, because a lot of people don't realize this about Ariel, but Tycho, who made the first, as we know it, Ariel dolls, the ones I grew up with, they got a lot of heat for their first Ariel doll, and it was a very muted red hair. It was like a strawberry blonde almost, because they were like, America does not want this redheaded doll. We cannot make redheaded dolls. This was 89, so they were probably making 88, 87, somewhere in there. And to your point, they had never been a redheaded doll or princess. It was just blonde or dark brown. And so when they sent out this first doll with strawberry blonde hair, it did okay. They were curious why it didn't do so well. So out of reviews and research, they found out it's because the video showed Ariel with vibrant, really red hair. And so they went back to the drawing board, rushed out an emergency doll with red hair, with the red hair that we know it today. It sold out immediately, and as you can tell, it took 30 years of success after that. So the fact that we were still trying to almost like, I don't know how to put it into words, but the fact that we thought like blonde and brown were the only acceptable colors of hair in this country in 87, in my lifetime, is absurd to me. And now red was like such a rebel thing of the time, and like she was like just, ungodly creature with red hair, and now she's the best-selling Disney doll of all time with the vibrant red hair. It just goes to show that for me is all fear-based back then, and I can recognize fear-based actions from a mile away. And once we just step over the boundary of our fears, we usually find everything we were looking for. And I find that fear for me just tells me I'm about to do something cool or experience something that I haven't before. So I'm either about to educate myself, about to level up, I'm about to have a really awesome experience. So I lean into fear, and I encourage everybody to lean in their fears, because it's trying to find out what that fear comes from is actually the issue, not the issue at hand. Like, what are you so scared of?
Mm-hmm. Why Ariel?
So Ariel for me was probably that. She was the rebel. But she also had a very weird relationship with her father. And this is going to sound really weird for all the non-Ariel lovers, but in that scene where she goes to her grotto and she's like collecting all of her toys and doing all her things secretly because she knows her dad doesn't want to see it because he told her not, okay. And then he goes in and destroys it all because she can't stop doing what she loves. It's literally me as a kid with my Barbies. I feel like, or not Barbies, Ariel. I don't want to mix the two. They are two different things. But with all of my Ariel dolls in my room, if my dad ever found them, I feel like it was going to be the end of the world. Like, he would come and destroy them. He would take them from me. He would never get on to me. He would just make me feel little, like boys don't play with dolls, or you're going to get made fun of a kid, or only sissy boys do this. It would just put me down. And so I think I just resonated with her because it was this long time search for something bigger than what she was allowed to search for. But she knew there was something out there for her. And it's what I've been searching for my whole life, I feel like.
Have you found it?
I feel like I found it once I got to LA. I felt like no matter what I'm doing in LA, I don't need, the $30 million home. I just need to be able to walk down my street comfortably to the grocery store without wondering if I'm too gay in my existence at this moment.
I love LA. Like, coming from New Jersey, and I knew that you spend a lot of time in New York City for work. Like, one of the things that I love about LA is I can literally go home, eat a bunch of mushrooms, fucking meditate, and be a fucking hippie for the rest of the night. And then wake up the next day, look posh, and like put together some real estate thing and go to some fucking $30 million house, and then go work out at the gym and just be like as like low key as I possibly can.
Yep.
And like, I love that I can have friends, peers, business clients in every aspect of that, and friendships with people that are across the spectrum and they're on board.
Yep.
And I love that vibe that LA has.
Yep,
you can't find that everywhere.
You can't.
It's just so special.
It is. It's like the land of misfits in a way. It's like we all know who we want to be, or who we are at least, and we come here and we're all searching for that same thing. I feel like no matter what the industry, it's like we're all drawn to that energy. And I love New York too, and New York's just a totally different vibe and energy, and I can totally be gay in New York as well. But there's just something about LA that's just so colorful. Even though I wear all black all the time, it's just so colorful in energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I would love for you to share just a few things. What are some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis that help you show up? I know that you work for a celebrity, a known gentleman. what are some of the things that you continue to show up as yourself and for this person on a day-to-day basis?
For me, I have to, every day is a new day. I am of the type where if I wake up and my eyes open, I don't care what my problems were when I went to bed. I'm genuinely thankful to wake up every single day. And so when I see my ceiling first thing in the morning, the next thing I do is I look over for my dogs. I love my dogs with all my heart. They're my check-in. They're my non-judgers. They love me for who I am, kind of thing. So I try to take as much time as I can with them, even if it's like 15 minutes, and give them all of my everything. Don't even look at the phones yet, because I know that they've blown up all night. That's every day. And so I try to like do that. On the weekends, I definitely go to Malibu. As you've probably seen on my social, Malibu is the place where my phone doesn't work, and I go way past tourist Malibu and way to the north. And I just sit out there on the ocean. There's something about the ocean that makes me feel so small. And by making myself feel small, it humbles me, I think, to realize that, you know, I live in a glitz and glam type of world, but when all that goes, if it ever were to go, would I still be happy with who I am? So I'm constantly checking in on myself, making sure that I'm happy with who I am at heart. I don't work out. That's honest. Everybody knows me. I can't even sit here and tell you that I do. I don't like it, but I try to eat healthy. I don't eat crazy. But other than that, I read a lot. I read books that are always making me better. I can't get lost in a fairy tale, which is so funny because I love Disney, but like The Power of Now, A New Earth, I love stuff that's always challenging me and making me a better person. And then I gotta let shit go, because in this world, real estate and the job I have now, I meet a lot of celebrities. It's very fast paced. There's, you know, so there's great things that happen. There's some awful throwdowns sometimes too. And it's like, you just have to understand. I put myself in people's shoes, whether that is the person I work for or at the agency, an agent. I have to understand what they're going through too. And so I just check myself, like, if I just irritated this person, or if I dropped the ball here, which, you know, I don't like to drop the same ball twice. I don't do it. So if I drop the ball, I am like going through it with a fine tooth comb to see how that ball dropped and creating a process to make sure that ball doesn't get dropped again. And so I'm constantly challenging myself to grow emotionally, mentally, physically, kind of, I guess, not really. Physically on terms of like hair and skin and that kind of stuff, for sure. That's LA. But I try to make sure that I'm in a mindset and in an energy. I do my Reiki to get rid of all the bad energy. I'm showing up the best of me, the best version of me, which is sober, which is someone who doesn't take himself too seriously, who still works hard, who can be loyal, responsible, all the things.
Oh, I love that. I mean, because for me, I always think of this in the same exact way, which is like, I'm creating a foundation, and when I can show up for another person, I could be in service to them. They may be going through something, and they may need some of the tools that I already have on my tool belt. Like, that can really be helpful. But before we wrap, I need a skin suggestion.
Oh my God. Okay.
I do. I need a skin suggestion, even though I'm like obsessed with my skin, and I think I have a pretty good skin routine. And a hair. I need something good that continues to make my hair shiny, because literally a redhead, I have to go above and beyond the other hair colors that I wish I had.
I hear you. So for skin, I'm trying to, I'll be honest, I'm trying to get off the Botox. Chaz is on me really bad right now to stop the Botox. He just wants me to do more natural. So I am transitioning.
Well, he's like pretty.
He's very pretty. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I actually said that to him one time. He's like, well, so are you? And I was like, yeah, but I don't, I'm trying to give all the excuses I can because I love my Botox. But he does have his own line of skincare, which he is transitioning to. We're going to do a little trial period of before and after for me and get me photographed. So hopefully you'll see those results in 30 days. We're actually starting it next week. And then for hair, I only use Win. Even before I worked for Chaz, I was a client of his for years, and that's how I knew about Win and his brand and all the things.
Win? I never heard of it.
Yeah, so Win is his hair care line. He has been selling it for almost 20 years now, I believe. I'm QVC and all that, so I go to Pennsylvania for QVC with him. But his cleansing conditioners, any of them, I want to say there's like 51 choices now. They are not what you're used to. There's not a shampoo and a conditioner. It's just one product. It's a cleansing conditioner. It kind of does both, but without the harsh chemicals. It's all natural and all the things.
Cool.
But for your shine, I would definitely use this smoothing gloss serum, which I put in with my mousse and I rub it in and then just let it air dry, and it just gives my hair all day shine. And then covering it with replenishing treatment mist, which I use for my face and my hair all day. It's in a little spritzer bottle. I should have brought one for you because you would love it, but I spritz it on my face and my hair all day long because it's just instant hydration.
I stopped using mousse because I'm trying to be really mindful of certain chemicals. So I don't really have
his is all natural, like none of that crazy stuff.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to be eating something good that's good for like the shine, because your skin and your hair, when I was in nutrition school, they would be like, when I would have to work with patients, they would be like, before you even know what they're eating, you're going to know how they're eating by their skin, their hair, their nails, their eyes.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
I mean, yeah, I don't eat crazy sugar stuff, but I don't eat that healthy. I mean, I'm vegetarian. I have been most of my life. Chaz is vegan, so maybe there's something to that. I don't know. We don't eat meat. But yeah, other than that, it's just lots of water.
Yeah.
I obviously don't drink alcohol. I don't drink sodas. I cut out Diet Coke finally. That was a horrible addiction.
Yeah, it's worse than regular Coke.
I know, but then the calories instantly, I'm just like, I can't. So it's just like, I quit it all.
Coffee?
I do coffee.
Coffee's the best.
Just because we don't sleep. I mean, we travel constantly. We're on a plane. Like
I love it.
I got to keep going.
I love it. And I'm so happy that you were able to come in.
Yes,
I definitely want to get you back. I mean, your TikTok, sometimes your TikTok just fucking cracks me up. I can't even deal with it. It's so funny. But I like to ask all my guests 3 questions before they leave.
Okay.
What is a non-negotiable in your morning routine that sets you up for the day?
Okay. I think it's the time with my dogs. I just have to feel them and love them, and just kind of like I absorb all of their just goodness. You know what I mean? Dogs just, they don't want anything but to love. So I just like absorb that and take it with me.
I love that. What is a piece of advice or suggestion you would offer to someone either in your community or in somebody's business or a relationship or for their mental health?
To please be honest with yourself on who you are, no matter what that looks like or how you thought that was going to look or what you should be. Just be honest with who you are and try to solve for that if that's a bad thing, or lean into it if it's a good thing for you. But you were put on this earth for a reason. Stop trying to control it. Just trust in your inner instinct, trust in the universe, and you'll figure it out.
What are 3 qualities of yourself that peers would say about you?
Pretty open, sometimes brutally honest kind of thing. But life's too short for bullshit in my mind. And then I would say funny, but I don't try to be funny. I just I entertain on my TikToks, but like, I just don't take myself seriously. I don't think anybody should, no matter what kind of money or what you have. It doesn't matter. Just no one is that important. And then number 3 would be,
Sassy.
No, I don't know about sassy. I would say confident for sure. Like, I know how to walk in a room and handle my own. I turn my trauma into my strengths in a way. So
I think you can be sassy sometimes.
Okay, sassy.
Maybe that's mine.
I'm sure everybody listening to this that knows me has said absolutely.
Jaron, where can people find you? Plug yourself.
At Jaron Michael Robbins on TikTok and Instagram, and then at A Friend of Ariels on TikTok and Instagram.
I love Friend of Ariels. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful and I adore you. Thank you guys for listening. Follow me at Jessica Fury, at Jessica J. Fury. Follow the podcast, support the podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.